All right, my name is Joseph Wooten, and I love J-Ross TV.
What's up, y'all? Hey, y'all, it's a treat and an honor for me, y'all, hanging out with my cat, Joe Wooten. He in St. Louis with his brother Vic and Reggie and them with the Wooten Brothers Band, y'all, at the old Rock House finna do it up. But hey, man, some of y'all know, man, back in the day when I was starting off, man, I was like, man, I'm gonna quit, man. I don't want to do it no more. Joe was always encouraging, man, don't give up, because if you stop, somebody else gonna do it.
No, well, the reason I just knew it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Because the stars always get their story told, but the people behind the people don't get their story told. And you were doing the thing, and a lot of other people don't do. You're giving people a chance. So I was like, that's a noble endeavor, and you're good at it. So don't stop.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, Joe, but now, what is it like, man? Can you kind of give like a real inside look on the touring life, man? Because a lot of cats, man, they be like, man, I want to be on tour. I want to get the girls. I'm going to get this. What is it like for real?
Well, I mean, I like to travel. I like meeting new people. So I love the road. It's not for everybody. If you need consistency, the road ain't for you.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind living out of a suitcase and being in a different city every day, then it's for you. And it's for me. I'm that kind of dude. I've always liked to travel. Goodness knows I like meeting new people. I like to talk. The road is made for me.
Yeah. So being a married man, Joe, and I know Stephanie travel with you a lot.
She does.
Is it hard, man? Like she get on your nerves, you get on her nerves,
No. Well, see, Stephanie and I are still. We just been married a couple of years, but we've been together for 6. So the way that I see it. It's falling in love, right? That's the easy part. Falling in love is similar to having talent. You got talent, that's the beginning. The relationship is something that you get good at.
Yeah.
And by now we're good at it. So she stays with me. I know how to. She's in business, so I know how to be in her zone without getting in her way. She knows how to be in my zone.
Yeah.
We enjoy each other's company.
Now you've been with Steve, what, 20 years now, right?
26.
26?
26 in March 1993.
My goodness, Jay.
He called me on March the 12th, 1993.
Now,
asked me to be in the band.
But Joe, most bands don't, musicians can't make money that long, man. You know.
Well, I was fortunate enough to get a good gig, you know.
Right.
Most artists aren't around that long, man. And Steve was, way back in 93, he told me, he said, man, this is the kind of gig you could have for the next 10 years if you want.
Yeah.
And then, 10 years plus another 16, and he's not really planning on stopping until he can't do it anymore.
Right.
So I was fortunate. Most of the time, gigs don't last that long.
Yeah. But I noticed too, a lot of times, man, on Facebook, you real socially conscious, man.
I try to be. You know, I try to be socially conscious, and I try to remind people that we ain't got to fight all the time, even though we differ on some things.
Yeah.
On my page we talk about everything.
Yeah.
Some people jump in, and there's some words that wind up getting said. But what I always try to remind them is that I hope that that if you see me on the side of the road with a flat tire, you ain't gonna drive past me because we didn't vote for the same person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about doing a gig one time or doing a talk one time, and then get everybody in the audience to dance with somebody they don't know. And the reason that would be all right is because you can still have a good time, is because you'll be honoring what the person is and not the decisions they've made. Now, when it comes time to vote, that's a special time. Okay, then we go and do our own corners and we do that whole thing. But outside of voting, man, we should be good.
Well, but in your travels, though, do you find that most people are good with one another or against one another?
In my travels, most people are good with each other. I mean, here's the thing. And this is the mistake that people make, in my opinion.
Right.
Like there's traffic going out here, right?
Yeah.
Most everybody out there is driving exactly like they're supposed to. But if one person cuts you off, then all of a sudden, man, St. Louis drivers.
Right.
St. Louis drivers, right? All of a sudden, they done messes up for all the St. Louis drivers. Whereas if we kept things in perspective, most of the time when we drive, everything goes just as it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
There's many more people helping. There's many more people doing what they're supposed to do than there are people not doing what they're supposed to do. Just as the people that don't do what they're supposed to do get all the press.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just try to remind people to be better, and you can't really do it with words. The most effective way to do anything is to do it with examples. So you try to make people feel significant, try to make them feel important, and trying to make them feel like we may disagree on some things, but we ain't enemies.
Right.
Now, there's some exceptions to that rule. If a person's racist or whatever, then, we can't be hanging. But if the person's not, we can get past it and we can work through it.
It's all good.
Yeah, I'm always looking for the best in people if I can. I always say I'm such an optimist, and my blood type is B positive. It is too.
Hey, so how do you keep that joy over the years, just through music?
Well, first, I recognize that I'm fortunate, right? Because I recognize, like, I have the luxury of having long hours where I can, like, ponder things and, think long, deep thoughts and that kind of thing. And that's a luxury everybody doesn't have. So I'm always on the lookout to make sure I'm not looking down on people who don't think like me, because other people are in survival mode. They got 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. They just trying to survive. I'm fortunate I can study nutrition and then go shop at Whole Foods. Everybody can't do that.
Right.
Some people are just ramen noodles and they try to do the best they can. So I just try to realize there's room enough for everybody, recognize that I can't solve it all, and just try to make the situation where I am as good as possible.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
But what about your creative flow over the years? They still come to you the songs? And
Yeah, man, absolutely. My brain just hears stuff in music, so I got music in my head all the time. And I also realize that music is the most effective way of creating change, because the ultimate thing that a person wants is experience, right? We dress a certain way because we want to feel a certain way. We decorate our house a certain way because we want to feel a certain way when we walk in. Music is pure feeling, right? So if I get you to feel it with music, nobody can get it out. If I say it to you, somebody can say something else and like muddy the water. That's why musicians have power that politicians don't have, right? Think about your favorite music. They could torture you till you was dead, and you die with that music being your favorite music, right? But somebody can say something to you, and then somebody else will say something else, and then you be like scratching your head, right? Once somebody makes you feel that good thing, you can't get it out. So I recognize that music is a powerful tool. So most of the time when I'm writing music, I'm trying to write music that's going to help people. That's my main focus of writing.
Okay. Last question, Joe, because I know you got to bounce.
No, man, I ain't got to go on. I ain't got to go on.
Tell us something that your mother told you and your brothers growing up that can help us in our journey to be on the main stage.
Well, I heard Victor say this the other day, and one of the things that she used to say, because everybody's always asking, like, how can they get to the next level? How can they be famous? And my mom was like, it's easy to be famous, right? You do something wrong, you can be famous. She said the challenge is to do something worthy of you being famous. And that was something that she used to say. She used to also remind us that when we look in the mirror, we've seen the most important person that we're gonna see that day, but we're no better than anybody else. And she was really a stickler for our humility. Yeah. Make sure that we were humble, make sure that we knew that we were something special, but we weren't better than anybody else. Yeah. And that was she was a stickler for that.
Well, in the early stages of you guys' development, was it like a brotherly rivalry?
No, not one drop.
That's hard to believe, Joe.
No,
talented guys.
This is why. One, we ain't even built that way. Yeah. The other thing, we're all on different instruments. And we were all bass players, right? Maybe something else. Yeah. But keyboards, bass, drums, guitar, saxophone. So,
but hold on, but growing up, when the girls were screaming and you at the gig, everybody's trying to get it in.
No. For us, this was a challenge for us, because Reggie started teaching Victor and I when he was 10, I was 5, Victor was 2. So Reggie, Roy, and Rudy were 10, 9, and 8.
Yeah.
As long as I can remember, they were always really good. I don't remember them sounding like they were learning. So Victor and I were trying to keep up. Then all of a sudden, I don't remember Victor sounding like he was learning. So my little brother, in my opinion, could play better than I could. So it wasn't a competition. It's just I didn't want to be the guy holding the band back. The band wants to play whatever that tune is. You don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So for us, instead of it being competition, it was inspiration. When your little brother can play like that, then you go in and practice.
Yeah.
Right? You're happy for him too. Right? I remember coming home from New York and Victor saying, "Man, I can thump Paganini," because Paganini's very challenging violinist, but Victor could do it with his thumb and make every note pop like, I could thump Paganini. There's no jealousy in that. I'm happy for him.
Right.
I'm happy for him. So we were always very encouraging, and there was no competition also because we were taught with humility. Right? Reggie taught us with humility. So plus, I ain't gonna compete with Reggie. Reggie, boy, Rudy, man, the dudes are so good, so fast.
Man, so hey Joe, like 20 years from now, what you see yourself doing, or what would you like to do?
20 years from now, I'll probably be playing somewhere, talking to some people, trying to make things better. 20 years from now, I'd like for my music to be recognized. I know the potential of the right kind of music at the right time.
Yeah.
So that's always what I'm striving for, just to make things better. So 20 years from now, I would hope that I've made things better, at least in my sphere.
Yeah.
I want to be healthy. I still want to be happily married. I don't want to have any enemies.
Hey, do you see where music and knowledge coexist to one another? Like not so much as music knowledge, say the music itself, plus knowledge of things going on in the world, of things going on.
Of course. Yeah, because music is just auditory proof that order and proper perspective is beautiful. Right? Now we do it with notes and music, but in life we do it with ideas. Right? So the same way music represents an experience, and an experience is interpreted by knowledge.
Right. Music
and knowledge go hand in hand. They go hand in hand.
Well, you got to break that down just a little bit more for me, the dummy.
Here we go. Knowledge is an interpretation. Knowledge is an interpretation of an experience.
Okay.
Right. Or knowledge is an interpretation of information. Right. Events. Events give us experience. Right. Music is pure experience. Right. So music and knowledge work hand in hand to get us to where we want to go. Ultimately, where we want to go is experience. Right. So music and knowledge. If you're doing music right, music and knowledge go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're doing music right, music and knowledge go hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, see, I noticed too, your kids making a name for themselves down in Nashville. They doing every which kind of thing. Yeah. I know you're a proud papa.
I am. I am. Both my kids are turning out really well. My son Jesse plays drums with me all the time.
Yeah.
Plays bass and guitar and drums. Bass, guitar, drums, programs, writes. He was one of the main programmers of an app where people will be able to go to Starbucks, design their coffee on their phone, and it'll come out the machine.
I heard that.
Yeah, so Jesse, he's a smart kid, and Justice is in college. My younger one's in college, and he was majoring in sports science with a minor in nutrition. Just talked to him the other day. He changed his major to geology. So, they're smarter than me.
Hey, but so Joe, as a musician father, did you ever try to kind of get them a little nudge?
No. I knew that if they wanted music, it'd be there for them. And my parents didn't push us into music. We just chose it, and because they saw that we had focus, then they helped us do that. And as a parent, I just wait to see what their interest is, and then try to feed their interest. So Justice, my son going through geology, he was an athlete. He was my little athlete. He wanted to run. So he was a state champion in track.
Yes, sir.
In his 2012, 2013, his junior and his senior year. And then he went to college, and now he's majoring in. He's got a passion for geology. So I just try to feed their passions.
All right, y'all. This is Joe Wooten. We in St. Louis. We having ball at the old Rock House, getting ready to hit tonight with the Victor Wooten band. Got his wife Stephanie on there sitting in the cut, my friend.
Yeah, that's right.
she making sure everything go right. She put her knife up before I put the camera on her.
We got one more phrase for the day.
What's that?
Jay Rizzy, staying busy.
Get that on the shirt, baby boy.
That's right, Jay Rizzy, staying busy, y'all.
Hey, y'all, want to thank Joe, man. He been looking out for me since day one.
Man, you been looking out for yourself. I just been cheerleading on the side.
Well, I appreciate that, though.
We love you.
I love you too. But yeah, Joe been looking out for me. I mean, when the idea came to me and I started trying to do it, and like I told y'all in the beginning, it wasn't going nowhere.
Oh man, you didn't think it would.
And I wanted to quit. I was just gonna give up. And they used to call Joe, hey man, and he used to just tell me, don't quit, man, don't quit. So I want to show him respect for that and bow down to in the presence of a boss player. That's that old Tupac. No, that's the Tupac, man. Oh yeah, we gonna let Joe roll. This your boy J. Ross. We 10 million strong. We gone. Peace.